Genesis AI has just unveiled a robot that refuses to follow the humanoid rulebook. It doesn't walk on two legs, it doesn't have a face, and it makes almost no attempt to look like a person. Instead, Eno rolls through buildings, changes its height, folds itself down, and uses robotic hands designed around the tools humans already use. Genesis says the AI behind it can receive a high-level objective, understand the situation, remember context, and manage an entire sequence of physical tasks. But here's what really matters. As of June 17, 2026, there's no public price, battery runtime, payload rating, or independent reliability benchmark for Eno. So this isn't proof that general-purpose robotics has been solved. It's a major bet that the most useful robot may not be the one that looks human, but the one designed specifically to work inside a human world. Today, we're breaking down how Eno works, why Genesis removed its legs, and what this robot still needs to prove. For years, the AI industry focused mainly on software. Models learn to write, generate images, answer questions, and build code. But the next major race is physical AI, machines that can understand instructions and then act in the real world. That transition is far harder than putting a chatbot inside a metal body. A robot must deal with friction, weight, balance, imperfect objects, moving people in situations that never unfold exactly as planned. Genesis AI believes the answer is to build the body, hands, control system, training data, and AI model together as one platform. By the end of this video, you'll understand what makes Eno different, how its gene model learns physical skills, where the robot could create real value, and why the most impressive claims still deserve caution. Genesis AI officially unveiled Eno on June 16, 2026. It is the company's first complete general-purpose robot and is powered by Gene, Genesis AI's robotics foundation model system. A foundation model is an AI system designed to learn patterns across many different tasks and types of data. Instead of programming one robot only to weld a door or move a specific box, the goal is to create one adaptable intelligence that can eventually learn many physical jobs. Genesis says production and targeted customer deployments will begin by the end of 2026. The initial customers are expected to come from manufacturing, logistics, and laboratories. Hotels and hospitals may follow, with home and outdoor applications planned further down the roadmap. Reuters reported that the company had already built dozens of units and intended to expand production during the second half of 2026. This is not a small, unknown garage project. Genesis emerged from stealth in 2025 with a $105 million seed round, co-led by Eclipse and Khosla Ventures. Its backers also include former Google CEO Eric Schmidt. The company has since announced a partnership with LGCNS to evaluate and pilot its robots across manufacturing and logistics operations. But Eno's most obvious difference isn't its funding or its software, it's the body. While companies across the industry are building two-legged humanoids, Genesis chose a wheeled platform with a folding, height-adjustable tower. That decision tells us something important about the company's strategy. Genesis is prioritizing useful manipulation over human imitation. Eno starts with a wheeled mobile base. Above that base is a tower made from articulated sections. These sections allow the robot to raise or lower its arms, extend its working range, and fold into a more compact form when it isn't operating. According to Genesis, most of its early industrial customers work on smooth, flat floors. In those environments, wheels can offer greater stability and efficiency than trying to balance a heavy machine on two mechanical legs. The disadvantage is obvious. Stairs, broken ground, and uneven outdoor spaces could stop Eno completely. Genesis has acknowledged that legs would make more sense for tasks that specifically require stair climbing, but the most important hardware may be at the opposite end of the machine. Eno uses proprietary dexterous hands designed to closely reproduce the size, movement, and contact behavior of human hands. Genesis Hand 1.0 reportedly has 20 active back-drivable degrees of freedom. A degree of freedom is simply one independent direction of movement. The more degrees of freedom a hand has, the more precisely it can position individual fingers, adjust a grip, and manipulate irregular objects. Backdrivable means outside forces can physically move the joints instead of the mechanism, behaving like a completely rigid machine. That can improve sensitivity and make physical interaction safer and more natural. The hand is also covered with soft material across the fingers and palm, helping it interact with objects using contact patterns closer to those of human skin. Why copy the human hand so closely? Because nearly every tool around us, scissors, pipettes, screwdrivers, kitchen knives, door handles, and control panels, was designed for human anatomy. If a robot uses a simple two-finger gripper, businesses may need to redesign their tools and workplaces around the machine. A human-shaped hand potentially allows the robot to enter an existing environment and use what is already there. But here's where the AI becomes critical. Gene 26.5 is designed to process several forms of information together: language, camera images, the position of the robot's own joints, tactile feedback, and motor actions. That means the system isn't only seeing an object, it's also tracking how its body is positioned, what its fingers are touching, and what action should happen next. Genesis trains the system using three main sources of human data. The first is a sensor-equipped glove that records finger movement and tactile information while a person performs a task. The second is egocentric video, footage recorded from a worker's point of view. The third is regular third-person video, including large quantities of human action footage. Because the robotic hand closely resembles a human hand, Genesis argues that movements recorded from people can be transferred to the robot more directly, reducing what robotics researchers call the embodiment gap, the difference between the body producing the training data and the body expected to reproduce it. Genesis says it has collected more than 200,000 hours of data across these different sources. It then combines that real-world information with simulation, where thousands of virtual robots can practice tasks without damaging real equipment or requiring a physical operator for every attempt. The company has demonstrated systems cooking a multi-step meal, performing laboratory pipetting, handling cables, making a smoothie, and manipulating a Rubik's Cube. Genesis labels most of these demonstrations as autonomous and running at normal speed. However, these are company demonstrations, not standardized third-party tests. And the piano demonstration used a separately trained reinforcement learning policy rather than the same general task model. And this distinction matters. A successful demonstration proves that a system can perform a task under the demonstrated conditions. It does not automatically tell us how often it fails, how it handles unfamiliar objects, or whether it can repeat the same task for thousands of hours inside a busy facility. The most realistic near-term opportunity for Eno isn't inside your home. It's inside controlled industrial environments where the floors are flat, the workflows are documented and repetitive, physical tasks still require human flexibility. Imagine a production facility preparing for its next shift. A traditional industrial robot may perform one fixed motion from the same location all day. Eno's proposed role is broader: move between workstations, check which materials are missing, restock containers, manipulate tools, and coordinate with the facility's existing systems. The company calls this managing an objective from start to finish, rather than executing one isolated command. Laboratories are another logical starting point. Many lab tasks involve small containers, pipettes, caps, and instruments that were designed for human hands. A mobile robot with precise fingers could potentially move between different stations instead of requiring separate automation hardware for every device. If you run a factory, warehouse, or laboratory, the important question isn't whether Eno can perform one spectacular task. It's whether the same machine can be moved to a different workflow, learn that workflow with limited new data, and deliver reliable output without months of custom engineering. That is where a genuine general-purpose robot could change the economics of automation. Traditional automation often makes financial sense only when a task is repeated at massive scale. An adaptable robot could make automation practical for lower volume, higher variation work, the category where human workers are still far more flexible than conventional machines. Now, here's the catch. General purpose is an ambition, not a standardized technical certification. Genesis says Eno can reason through changing conditions, retain memory, and manage long-horizon tasks. But the public materials do not yet show an independent evaluation across a large range of uncontrolled environments. We don't know Eno's average intervention rate, how frequently a human must step in when the robot becomes confused. We don't know the number of productive hours it can complete between serious failures. We also don't have public details about its payload, runtime, charging method, top speed, noise level, unit cost, or commercial service model. Those missing numbers may ultimately matter more to customers than a polished launch video. Speed is another issue. A robot can be technically capable of completing a job but still be commercially useless if it operates too slowly. Factories care about cycle time. Laboratories care about accuracy and contamination control. Hospitals care about safety, hygiene, and accountability. A single system must meet very different requirements in each environment. Then there's the cognitive interface screen. Genesis says an optional screen can display Eno's intent, reasoning, and operational state in real time. That could help nearby workers understand what the robot is attempting to do and whether it needs assistance. But displaying a message such as, "I am moving this container," is not the same as exposing the complete internal reasoning of a complex AI system. The interface could improve communication, but it does not by itself guarantee that the robot's decision is correct or safe. Real trust will require physical safety systems, emergency stops, access controls, audit logs, restricted operating zones, and clear rules defining when a human must approve an action. There's also a workforce question. Robots like Eno are being designed specifically for activities currently performed by people. If they become reliable and cost-effective, some jobs will be reduced, redesigned, or eliminated. But mass replacement is not happening immediately. Initial deployments are targeted pilots, and integrating robots into real facilities remains difficult. Even capable hardware requires workflow mapping, maintenance, employee training, safety validation, and connection to existing software. The sensible response is neither panic nor blind optimism. It is to demand measurable results and plan for how workers will be retrained as machines take over more repetitive physical tasks. The next 6 months will be far more important than the launch presentation. Genesis plans to begin production and targeted deployments before the end of 2026. Its partnership with LG CNS is expected to identify suitable use cases, collect data, conduct post-training, and build a repeatable deployment process for industrial customers. The metrics to watch are straightforward. How quickly can Eno learn a completely new task? What percentage of attempts succeed? How does performance change when objects move, lighting changes, or a human interrupts the workflow? How many hours can it work without assistance? And most importantly, does the total cost of ownership beat a conventional robot, specialized automation, or human labor? One possibility is that Eno becomes a successful mobile manipulator for factories and laboratories without ever achieving the broader vision of working everywhere. Another is that the gene system becomes the central intelligence for several different robot bodies. Genesis has already said additional embodiments are under development, meaning Eno may be only one physical form in a larger platform. The less exciting outcome is that deployments take longer than expected because real facilities expose reliability and safety problems that controlled demonstrations cannot reveal. All three outcomes are plausible. That's why the end of 2026 deployments matter. They will begin separating product design from marketing and laboratory capability from repeatable commercial work. Eno matters because it challenges one of the biggest assumptions in modern robotics. A machine doesn't necessarily need a human face, human legs, or a human silhouette to operate in a human environment. It may only need the right reach, the right mobility, capable hands, and intelligence that can adapt when the world refuses to behave exactly as expected. Genesis AI has presented a compelling design and an ambitious full-stack strategy, but it has not yet proved that Eno can deliver general-purpose autonomy safely, reliably, and economically at scale. that proof will not come from playing a piano, solving a cube, or producing another cinematic demonstration. It will come from ordinary work, repeated thousands of times around real people, without constant intervention. So what do you think? Will practical wheeled robots like Eno reach workplaces faster than fully humanoid machines? Or will the lack of legs eventually become their biggest limitation? Share your opinion in the comments. That's it for this one. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.